Welcome to this week's Ask GMBN, where I try my best to answer your questions sent in via social media using the hashtag AskGMBN or left in the comment section down below this video. Right, let's kick it off with one from Christian Eilers, and he asks about gaining confidence in drop situations. It's like my body turns to jello when trying manuals over drops. Well, Christian, I'll just say try it on small drops first. I know it's a bit of a boring answer, but go back to just even doing it off curbs. The skill is exactly the same on big drop-offs. Just get confident with that skill first and then build up. And the faster you go, the easier it is with drop-offs. Brandon Groves says, what is the best way to stop your goggles from fogging up? Ride faster. That's one way of doing it. Obviously that bit of air on the face of the goggles stops them from steaming up. I've heard of people using washing up liquid on the inside of the lens. I've never tried that. Or a bit of a plug here, but Smith goggles don't actually have any foam on the top of their mountain bike goggles, and that really helps because most of the time mountain bikers actually use motocross goggles. Benjamin Downhill for Life, good username. How do I find bike parks around me? Bike shops are probably the best place to get into the sort of bike community and ask those places first. But we've also done a video on this, so check out how to find mountain bike trails. Maps are also really good for finding areas of forest that might be worth some closer investigation. Some of them will be privately owned, no-go areas, but might be worth a bit of a look. Albert, I keep getting wrist pains. That's quite common. How do I eliminate them? Should I change my handlebar or stem? Well, bars might have something to do with it. I wouldn't say stem does probably, but the sweep of a bar, you might find that you can just even try rotating the bar that you've already got to try and find a more comfortable spot. So just rotate it in the stem. It's going to change the sweep on the bar up or down or whatever. And I would also check the angle of your brake levers. I like to run my brake levers quite high up on the bars, so quite flat, but that can put a bit of pressure through your wrist. So maybe roll them down a little bit. It might take a bit of weight off your hands. Victor Mitic, my fork vibrates when I press the brakes. I bought a new disc and brake pads, but it still vibrates. I would say this is probably down to your headset. So check that your headset's tight. If it's not tight, the fork might be vibrating, or it could possibly be the bushes if you've got a suspension fork, but my first check would be the headset. And here's a video on how to do that.
The reason that you want these loose is so you can torque that bolt down, and that pulls the stem down and pulls the bearings and everything into the headset nice and snug, so therefore you don't have any play.
Next question comes from Felix Grand-Girard. How to recover for downhill season after a broken collarbone? Well, sorry to hear that. Collarbones actually heal relatively quickly. Take it easy obviously to begin with because you don't want to re-break it, but you can still get on the turbo trainer, things like that, really keep active. Obviously you don't want to do too much with your shoulders, but hopefully after sort of 5 or 6 weeks your collarbone should be sorted. So up until then, just get on the turbo trainer. It's boring, but it'll keep you fit. Neil Kraus. I've had my cross-country bike for 4 years now and he's taken for a service, but the gears are just not shifting like the bike was when it was new. More often than not, that does come down to gear cables getting worn and a bit of mud in there, and they start getting friction in the system. That is generally why gears don't work very well. So just change your gear cables. And if you don't know how to do that, have a look at this video. If your gear cable is mounted externally to the bike, normally using clips or zip ties, something like that, it's a really easy job. Just get rid of those clips, zip ties, snip them off, and just pull the whole cable out in one go, free it from the bike. Now it's time for the quick fire round. Rowan Connolly, is it possible to ride a downhill bike on the road for a 15-minute commute? Yes it is, you'll hate it. David John Collado, can I straighten my steerer tube because I hit a car and my fork was a little bit tilted? No, don't do it, it's dangerous. Just get a new fork. Thomas Wheeler, in the Downhill World Championship when the riders get special custom bikes, do they get to keep the bike? Yes, more often than not. Yeah, they don't generally give them back as pro riders at all. James Williams, when doing a wheelie, to hold it for longer, should my seat post be positioned high or low? High, makes it easier. Rostislav Hexco, can I do downhill on my hardtail bike or do I need a full suspension bike? Yes, you can. If you're racing, you're probably going to find it a little bit slower, but it's still a lot of fun on hardtail. You just might find you get punctures if you try and push it really hard. Johnny Viero, can you make a video about how to jump in strong wind? No, just don't do it, it's dodgy. Don't do jumps in strong wind, stay on the floor. Now it's time for the correct me if I'm wrong section, where I look at the videos you guys sent me to try and help you out. Just send them to ask@GMBN, I love seeing them. Right, the first video comes from Ili Vlad and he's following his friend off a pretty big jump actually, so let's have a look. Railing it around a berm, and then His mate, who's the guy in front, does a jump, big step down really nicely, and then Illy comes up a little bit short. But actually, it's really cool to see that. Your friend is doing it really well. You can see the extra pop he gets from the takeoff. So he gives it a really big pump into the takeoff, and that gives him the lift to get over. So that's what you need to be doing. Just check out our video on how to pump, and that should help you out. So Wannes is trying to manual his cross-country bike with a really high seat post and 100mm stem, and he's clipped in. And that is a pretty good effort. Almost break your ankle by the looks of it. It's pretty dodgy, but a good manual. Just try and do it somewhere probably that's a bit more mellow. You're trying to do it over the top of a jump. You see when you hit the back side of that jump, that's going to sort of send the front wheel even higher. And just practice with your back brake. As soon as it gets up really high, hit the back brake, and that's going to pull it down. But I'll say try manual. You're on a pump track there, so try manual in between the dips rather than over the top of the dip. But good effort. The next one comes from Ben Davies, and he's hitting a jump at Landegler, a place I know really well. And that's looking pretty good. Front wheel is a bit high. You can see actually your front wheel almost overshoots the landing, so it almost lands at the bottom of the landing. So what you want to do is try and nose the bike in, so your front wheel lands at the top of the landing, and then your rear wheel sort of half a second later. And that means you'll land really smooth, your front wheel's back on the floor, and you're in control, and you can get a good pump on the landing. To nose it in a little bit more, either concentrate on the rear wheel lift of your bunny hop, or a little extra tip is just to dip the bars away from you, and that's going to pick the back wheel up. Hopefully that'll help you out. Keep sending your videos to ask@gmbn.com. Thanks for watching Ask GMBN. I love hearing your questions. You should watch some more videos whilst you're here. If you click up there, that'll take you through to Martin Ashton's latest video, Down Not Out, a mountain bike party. And check out his pro bike check there for his really cool Canyon sender. Click on the GMBN logo to subscribe. It's totally free, and you get a cool mountain bike video every day of the year. Give us a thumb up, like if you enjoyed Ask GMBN, and leave your comments down below.